So, I love Donkey Kong Bananza. I even said in my review that it was a 10 out of 10 and one of the best games I've ever played. And while yes, there might have been a tad bit of recency bias in that statement, I still think the game is fantastic. Truly amazing. The gameplay loop is addictive, the environments are vast and expansive, while also remaining dense enough so that you're not overwhelmed by the exploration. Speaking of the exploration, that's phenomenal as well. DK's abilities make it so fun to just run around and do nothing, basically. Donkey Kong Bananza was just a game that was executed nearly to perfection, which is why I was very hyped when DLC for the game got announced at the Nintendo Direct. Like, whoa, DK Island as a new explorable area? And a new roguelike mode as well? Seems like a great deal. But then, like many of Nintendo's recent projects, the cracks start to show as soon as you actually play the new content. DK Island is the new area added to the game, based on the earlier Donkey Kong Country games, and right away, you can tell that the fan service is off the charts. Little references sprinkled throughout the island, returning characters, it's all here, and I'm not surprised. This is something that the base game did really well, and it's great seeing that it extended to the DLC as well. What didn't extend to the DLC though is the actual exploration factor. There is nothing on this island. No bananas, no fossils, no main collectible of any kind. It's just an empty playground for you to run around in and play Emerald Rush in. And we'll get into that soon, but as for the main gameplay, there's no incentive to explore this island, and that really sucks. The main appeal of Donkey Kong Bananza, for me at least, is tearing through the ground to find collectibles, and you're just not encouraged to do that at all on this island. The island itself is designed well, and it has a bunch of different set pieces and places to explore, but without a reward for exploring those things, what's the point? Well, there's Emerald Rush, the other half of this DLC package. As mentioned earlier, this is a roguelike mode where you are tasked to gather a certain amount of emerald shards over the course of several rounds. At the beginning of each match, all of your skills are completely wiped, and you have to collect fossils and bananas to enhance your stats. Void Kong also gives you different objectives to enhance your chances of winning, but the main objective is to just reach the shard quota before the time runs out. If you do that, you're golden. And this mode is not bad at all. It's kind of nice having a mode like this, where you can just kind of turn your brain off and destroy a bunch of shit. Again, that was one of the most appealing aspects of the base game, and I'm glad that it's being used in a different way here. You can also collect new outfits, skills, and other rewards by completing these Emerald Rushes. So yeah, it's a pretty solid mode. For like 30 minutes, then it gets kind of boring. This may just be a me thing, but modes like this do get tiring pretty quickly. These are the kind of modes that you kind of just pick up for maybe 15 minutes and put down. And while that's inherently not a bad thing, it sucks even more when you consider that this mode is the only thing that gives DK Island any value. You can also play Emerald Rush on other layers, and I would say that this works much better, because the layers you're playing on have importance outside of the minigame. But with DK Island, it kind of just feels like an afterthought. Just something else they added to try and help sell the package. And if it wasn't obvious already, that's it for this DLC. You have the empty DK Island and the Emerald Rush minigame. That's it. The content itself is not bad, and I would argue the content is actually kind of similar to that in Super Mario Odyssey. DK Island is that throwback area that's just kind of a fun novelty. Mario Odyssey also had that with the Mushroom Kingdom. Emerald Rush also reminds me a lot of Luigi's Balloon World, even though I think that Emerald Rush is a tad bit more in depth. But the idea of having an extra score attack like mode where you can get rewards is present in both games. And that's not surprising at all, since both games were practically worked on by the same people. And Bananza's base game clearly already took a lot from Odyssey. The only difference is that Bananza is charging for this extra content, while Odyssey's was either already in the base game or came as a free update. Now, with that in mind, I kind of feel like this content might have initially been planned to be in the base game of Bananza, but it was decided at the last minute to be released as DLC to make some extra cash. This would also line up with the fact that the Bananza DLC was released not even 2 months after the game came out. That means they had to have had at least some of this DLC done before the base game was even released, right? So yeah, I do think this was originally supposed to be base game content that was turned into DLC at the last minute to make an extra buck. But even with that, I wouldn't call it unfair to charge maybe $5 or $10 for this DLC. Like, sure, why not? But this DLC actually costs an extra $20. That, on top of the base game being $70, makes the whole package $90. And I think that is way too much to be charging for this content. Whether you like it or not, a game's price tag sets the expectation. always. If something is priced higher, I'm going to expect it to have more content and more value. But no, they're charging $20 for something that, again, should have been included for free, at least in my opinion. So while, again, the content itself is not bad, the DLC as a whole feels very underwhelming because there's simply not enough content to justify that large asking price. But yeah, that about wraps it up for this one. I just wanted to talk about this real quick, and I didn't have much to say about it since, again, there's not really much to talk about. So I thought I'd just make this quick video to get my thoughts on the DLC out there. Let me know what you all think about all of this in the comments down below if you've played it. But that's all for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.